Folks at home, Brett Carnright, Miller Tech Pro staff member, and we are in the shop and we're talking FG knot today. All right, a tutorial on how to tie the FG knot, as if there is not enough videos on how to tie this thing out there. But listen, I do it a little bit different. This is gonna be a different point of view. We're gonna be doing POV. Your eyes are gonna be my eyes. We're gonna be doing it looking straight on instead of coming in at me from this angle right now. There's a ton of videos out there, but I've never seen one that's POV. The way that I do the knot, there's a bunch of different ways, right? Some people wrap it around the reel handle. Some people step on the line with their foot. I utilize my mouth. So I hold the knot in my mouth. That's just the way that I've learned how to do it. I felt like that was the easiest way to do it. It's the most consistent for me, and that's what we're gonna do today. So guys, tune in. This is a long video, but trust me, everything is important. All 17, 18 minutes of this video are extremely important in learning how to tie this knot. So a big piece of advice I could give you is whenever you're tying this knot, always set up in the same place. So every time I tie this knot, I sit right here in the center tackle compartment of my Phoenix. I always have my rod sitting over here to my right, always have a pair of scissors ready. I always lean my rod up against my seat, and on this Phoenix, I have a little bit of an indentation right there, and the rod sits right in there really nice. I've always got my line ready over here on my left. The deal with tying this knot is consistency. The more consistent you can be when attempting and learning to tie this knot, the easier it's going to be to learn it. If you're always moving around, trying it from a different place, it's going to be difficult to learn this knot because you're never doing the same thing twice. You know, this isn't a knot that you're going to learn and get it perfect your first ever attempt. Okay, probably not even 10 attempts. I would say 50 to 100 times you got to tie this thing to really understand it and trust it and make sure that you're doing it correctly. And if you can limit the amount of variables, which is where you're set up and where your rod's at and all that stuff, same line, same stuff like that, it's gonna make it a lot easier on you. So talking about the line, my braided line here, we've got a 10-pound. This is not like a Japanese braid. This is just a normal 10-pound. This is a Cortland, a yellow braid, so it's really easy for you guys to see it. The fluorocarbon, I'm using Cigar Tatsu. This is a 12-pound line. It is much easier to learn this knot with a moderate level line. Okay, I find that, let's say a 10-pound, 12-pound, a 15-pound line on your fluorocarbon side, 10-pound braid, a 15-pound braid, maybe a 20-pound braid is going to be much easier than using, say, a 5-pound braid and a 6-pound fluorocarbon leader. The smaller the line, the more difficult it is to tie this knot. So before you start trying to tie it with that super light line, I would recommend using a moderate level line like this to learn how to tie the knot before you start tying it on those light lines. Another really big tip that I could give you is leave on your mainline braid your existing joining knot on here, whether it's an FG knot, double uni, Alberto, whatever you normally tie, leave it on there. Don't cut it off. So you can see here, I just cut the fluorocarbon here. I leave the knot, and the reason I do that is because it's easier to grip this FG knot in my teeth than it is to grip just the straight braided line with no anchor point. So you're gonna have less slippage, easier to keep tension on it. So that's just a good tip. Leave the old FG knot there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this old FG knot and I'm gonna stick it in my teeth, kind of like dental floss. Most of the time I just bite on it, but because I need to be talking, if I slide it in between my teeth like dental floss, it makes me able to talk. Okay, so rod over here on the right, sitting in the seat, we've got a little bit of tension on the line. Tension is a really big deal. You need 4 points of tension. You're gonna see those 4 points here in a minute. And anytime you don't have 4 points of tension, that is kind of a danger zone where your knot can come unraveled and get messed up. So to start with the tension of your braid, I have the rod tip slightly bending. Okay, so I don't want to leave it like this where my line is slack. I like to have a little bit of tension. Whenever you hit it with your finger, you should feel it kind of vibrating like a guitar string. You don't want to do too tight because then you're not going to be able to get it to wrap correctly. So this is a pretty good zone right here that I want to be in. Now the fluorocarbon, the reason I leave it to the left is because when you're tying this knot, you're going to be doing some weaving in and around right here in the middle. So if you have your line here in the middle or to your right, that main line of fluorocarbon is going to be in the way as you're tying this knot. So when it's over here on the left, it's going to kind of roll down my left hand and be out of the way to the left and not in the way of while I'm trying to tie this knot. So we'll grab our fluorocarbon here. All right, and what I want is about a 6-inch to, 8-inch or so tag end. And we're going to lay the fluorocarbon over the top of the braid at a perfect cross. With my left hand, I'm going to pinch the fluorocarbon. Okay, right there. Now this fluorocarbon main line is actually completely loose right now, but what you can do is either wrap the main line fluorocarbon around your hand to create an anchor point, or if you're really good with your fingers here, you can just kind of pinch it and hold it. I personally just pinch it and hold it here. I'm actually right now talking about these 3 fingers are holding my main fluorocarbon line right now. So rather than wrapping around my hands, I'll rely on these 3 fingers to kind of hold the line in place when I'm tying it. But whenever you're learning this knot, it's probably best to maybe wrap it around your hand. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of line up again where I need to be, probably right there. I'm going to release it. Okay, I'm still pinching the line though, and I've got my main line here. So I'm going to take the main line fluoro and just kind of wrap it around my hand. I'm going to release the pinch because I don't really need to pinch it right now. Just wrap it probably 3 times. And that's going to give myself good anchor point. So I'm pulling on the tag end here and it's kind of stuck. But I know that my distance is good here because I was still pinching it before I started messing with wrapping the main line around my hand. So now I'm going to pull it tight again. You can see it's kind of biting into my hand there, not too big of a deal, doesn't hurt too bad. We're going to go, once again, back over the top, and I'm going to pinch the line. Okay, so right now I have a lot of tension. You can kind of see my main line right in here. Tension here from the braid to my hand on the main fluorocarbon. I've got tension right now between my mouth and my fingers. I've got tension here, and then I've got tension on the tag end. Okay, I'm pulling it tight with my right hand. Anytime that I release the right hand, I need to make sure that I'm pinching the knot with my left hand, with these 2 fingers. Anytime. Okay, so if I release my 2 fingers on my left hand, the knot's not going to come undone because I'm holding it with my right. Now I need to release my right hand, so I'm going to pinch the knot. Release my right hand. There's probably 10 to 12 inches here in front of my face. That's probably a good spot to kind of start this knot out for you. If the knot's too close to your face, you're going to have a hard time getting your hand in between to actually weave the knot. And if it's too far away, it just gets sloppy and it's tough to do it. Okay, to weave this knot, there's really 2 steps. You come with your fluorocarbon tag end and you come under the braid and towards your face. That's the first weave. And then the second weave is you go away from yourself, under and over. And then you do that about 20 times, 24 times, however many times you want to do it. The heavier the fluorocarbon and braid is, the less wraps you need to do. With a 10-pound braid, a 12-pound fluorocarbon, 20 to 22 wraps is going to be plenty. If you go under and you pull on the knot, it's going to slip. If you do too many times and you pull on the knot, it's going to be fine. The only thing is that your knot's going to be bigger than it really needs to be, which is not a big deal. If you're doing a 5-pound braid with a 6-pound fluorocarbon leader, I need to do at least like 34 to 40 wraps is typically what I do. So to start, remember, fluorocarbon towards you, up and under. So what I'm going to use is my 2 fingers, and I'm going to go over, and I grab the tag end fluoro, and I pull it together, just like that. And notice when I released these 2 fingers, I had tension with my right hand. Okay, my line was tight. If it's not tight and I release, so let's say like this, then I release, falls apart. Okay, that's why it's important to never release your right hand unless you have this pinched. So once again, we're going to restart here, get us back to the same point we were at. Perfect. Pinch the knot, release my right hand away from me. So 2 fingers around again, and then we're going to bring it together. And I'm going to slide my right hand. You could probably see that I slid my right hand to get the knot to kind of slide in together and be perfectly lined up with the previous wrap. And that's what we're going to do here. We're just stacking the wraps on top of each other, making a perfectly, equal knot here. Okay, that is the first 2 wraps. One towards me, one away from me. Now we're going to go towards me again. Okay. And now away from me. We're going to slide that knot together to get it to weave perfectly, just like that. That's 4. Release. 5. 6. Okay, pinch the knot, release my right hand. Towards me again. Because I had tension, I could release it. Ready? Release my right hand, I'm pinching with my left hand. Good. Now that I have tension with the right hand again, release that. If you can't get the knot to slide in perfectly together, like right now, what I do sometimes is I'll use this index finger and I'll kind of push it, tap it, kind of slide it together, just like that. Pinch. I don't know what we're at, maybe 8? I don't know. Say we're at 10 there. Pinch, release. Always release the knot when it's being built. Like right when it's about to slide in together is when I'm releasing it. You'll get a feel for it. Like right now I don't want to release it, and right there I do want to release it. And I'm keeping an eye on the knot, and I'm making sure that every time I wrap this, nothing's overlapping with each other. There's no spaces. Okay, we're going to do 2 more wraps. I don't know how many I did. 24, who knows? It's all right. Okay, we're going to end when it comes by our face. Okay, when you wrap it closer towards you is where we're going to stop. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide the fluorocarbon line up along the main line braid, and then I'm going to pinch it. Okay, so tag end fluorocarbon is now along the main line braid. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hold these 2 together, and I'm going to wrap my tag end braid that is in my mouth. We're going to release it from our mouth, and we're going to tie an overhand half hitch knot around both the fluorocarbon tag end and the main line braid. So here we go. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my teeth to bite the old FG knot there, and I'm going to pull it all tight. So whenever I'm pulling on this, I'm pulling on my tag end braid, I'm pulling on tag end fluorocarbon and mainline braid, all equally at the same time, okay? And I'm pulling on this thing as tight as I can get it. Now after we tie that knot, we can leave everything slack. It's not going to come unraveled now on us, so we don't need to utilize any more tension points. Next, what we need to do is tie the same exact knot that we just tied. Okay, so I'm going to take my mainline braid, my tag end fluorocarbon, and those are going to be together. And I'm going to take my tag end braid down here, and I'm going to tie another half hitch knot around both of them. And once again, I'm pulling extremely hard with the tag end fluorocarbon, the mainline braid, and the tag end braid. Okay, just like that. Now, what I like to do, you do this before you cut anything because you need the knot to kind of cinch into itself. If you cut your fluorocarbon or do anything before you do this, you run the risk of pulling the fluorocarbon out. So I'm going to take the main line fluorocarbon and wrap it around my hand, at least twice. Then I'm going to take my main line braid, wrap it around my hand, say twice, and I'm going to pull as hard as I can, and you'll actually feel the knot at times slip into itself. You'll feel it kind of pull and really tighten up. Okay, and I am absolutely pulling on this thing. You can see it cutting into my hand. Okay, I'm going to release this. Now, we're going to cut the tag end fluorocarbon. I'm going to cut this as tight as I can to the knot. So what I'm going to do is just kind of slide back all the other tag ends, just have my fluorocarbon line out, get me a pair of scissors. I'm going to come right in here as close as I can get and cut it. Now what I like to do just for insurance policy is make sure I didn't cut the fluorocarbon too tight or something goes on, whatever. I like to wrap my hand around the main fluorocarbon again, main braid again, and just give it another pull. Make sure that nothing comes loose. Anytime that I cut, I pretty much do that just to make sure. Now what we have left is just one tag end piece of braid, and we're going to tie a risotto knot, it's called, which is pretty much just a normal knot that we were just tying, the half hitch knot. But rather than doing just one time through and then pulling it tight, I'm going to wrap it 3 times. So with a 10-pound braid, 3 wraps. With like a 5-pound braid, I'm going to do like 5 wraps. So what we're going to do here, we've got the FG knot in my left hand and my fingers, pinch it there. The tag end braid in my right hand. I just use my left hand middle finger to create a loop. And we're going to go 1 time through, and I'm just going to grab the tag end with my mouth, reposition it in my finger. So I have 1 loop done. Now we're going to go through for a 2nd loop, 2nd, now 3rd. All right, now I'm going to slide these 2 together. So I'm pulling on the main line braid and the FG knot, and it's just kind of, slide this down. Pull on it tight here. I got the tag end braid and the main line braid, pull it tight. Then I grab my main line fluorocarbon, my main line braid, pull it tight again, kind of reline everything up. Take my scissors, okay, take my scissors, come in here, we're gonna cut. This doesn't have to be super flush, but I'm gonna get it really tight, pretty close. We're going to cut our braid, tag end braid off. And right there is a perfectly tied FG knot.